Marcus used to call himself lazy. It sounded harmless, almost soft. He would say it with a half smile, shrugging when friends asked why he hadn't started the business idea, why he hadn't gone back to the gym, why he hadn't finished the certification, why he hadn't applied for the better job. I'm just lazy, man. It felt better than telling the truth, because lazy sounds temporary, weak sounds permanent, and Marcus wasn't ready to admit weakness. Every morning his alarm went off at 5:30 a.m. Every morning he hit snooze. Not once, not twice, but enough times that the ambition he felt the night before evaporated into a fog of comfort. The bed was warm. The room was dark. His mind whispered the same lie it had perfected over the years. You'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow was his favorite day. Tomorrow was where the gym lived. Tomorrow was where discipline lived. Tomorrow was where the stronger version of him lived. But tomorrow never required pain. Today did. At night, Marcus was unstoppable. He'd watch motivational videos. He'd write goals in a notebook. He'd imagine the body, the bank account, the confidence. He'd feel fired up. Then morning came, and with it came resistance. Not physical resistance, emotional resistance. The kind that doesn't scream. The kind that whispers, you deserve rest. You had a long day. You can't change overnight. Take it easy. And he listened over and over again until one night something cracked. He was sitting alone in his apartment, scrolling on his phone, when he saw a picture of a guy he used to know in high school. Same age, same background. Now he had the physique, the business, the discipline. Marcus felt something uncomfortable rise in his chest. Jealousy? Maybe, but deeper than that. Regret. He put the phone down and stared at the ceiling. And for the first time, the word lazy didn't feel accurate anymore. Lazy would mean he didn't care. But he cared. He cared every single night. He cared enough to feel guilty, enough to feel behind, enough to feel frustrated. So if it wasn't laziness, what was it? The answer came in a sentence he didn't want to hear. You're not lazy. You're weak. It hit him like a punch. Weak wasn't cute. Weak wasn't funny. Weak meant something different. Weak meant he folded under pressure. Weak meant he chose comfort over growth. Weak meant he negotiated with himself. Weak meant he broke promises to himself. And the worst part? No one forced him to. He did it willingly, every single day. The next morning, the alarm went off again at 5:30. His hand moved automatically toward snooze. But something stopped him. A thought. If you hit snooze, you prove it. Prove what? That he was weak. Not permanently, but presently. And weakness wasn't a personality trait. It was a pattern. And patterns could be broken. He sat up. It felt small. It felt insignificant. It felt stupid. But it felt different. The first workout was ugly. He wasn't strong. He wasn't fast. He wasn't impressive. But he finished. And for the first time in a long time, he didn't feel motivated. He felt disciplined. There's a difference. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is structural. Motivation waits for energy. Discipline acts without it. Marcus had been chasing motivation for years. But motivation was unreliable. It showed up at night and disappeared by morning. Discipline didn't ask how he felt. It demanded action. Days turned into weeks. Not perfect weeks. He failed sometimes. He slipped sometimes. But something had changed. He stopped saying, I'm lazy. Instead, when he failed, he said, that was weak. And that sentence forced accountability. Because if it was weak, it meant he could be stronger. He began noticing weakness everywhere. When he reached for junk food instead of cooking. When he scrolled instead of reading. When he avoided hard conversations. When he delayed uncomfortable tasks. Each time, he labeled it correctly. Weakness isn't dramatic. It's subtle. It's choosing easy repeatedly. And easy compounds. But so does hard. 3 months later, Marcus didn't look like a different person, but he felt like one. His mornings were automatic now. The gym was non-negotiable. The business idea he'd talked about for 2 years? It was live. Still small. Still fragile. But real. The biggest change wasn't external. It was internal. He trusted himself again. That trust is everything. When you tell yourself you'll wake up, and you do. When you say you'll finish something, and you finish. When you promise discipline, and you deliver. You build identity. And identity drives behavior. One night, an old friend came over. They sat on the couch, talking about life. The friend said, "Man, I need to get my act together. I'm just lazy." Marcus smiled slightly. He recognized the script. He had lived it. "You're not lazy," Marcus said calmly. "Then what am I?" "Weak. But that's fixable." His friend laughed. Marcus didn't. Because weakness isn't permanent. It's practice. And so is strength. Weakness is hitting snooze. Strength is sitting up. Weakness is saying, "I'll start Monday." Strength is starting today. Weakness is waiting to feel ready. Strength is acting while uncomfortable. Weakness negotiates. Strength decides. Marcus didn't become disciplined because he found inspiration. He became disciplined because he stopped lying to himself. Lazy was a lie. Weak was honest. And honesty is where growth begins. A year later, Marcus walked into gym and barely recognized himself. Not because he was huge, not because he was rich, but because he moved differently. He stood differently. He spoke differently. Confidence isn't loud. It's quiet. It's built in the moments no one sees. 5:30 a.m., cold showers, unfinished tasks completed, hard choices made silently. No applause, no audience, just repetition. If you're watching this and calling yourself lazy, stop. Lazy lets you off the hook. Weak forces responsibility, and responsibility gives power. Because if you're weak today, you can train strength tomorrow. You don't need motivation. You need standards. You don't need hype. You need structure. You don't need more time. You need fewer excuses. Strength is built in boring repetition. It's built in mornings you don't want to wake up, workouts you don't want to do, projects you don't feel ready for. It's built when no one is clapping. Marcus didn't become extraordinary. He became consistent. And consistency is terrifyingly powerful because average people wait to feel ready. Strong people act anyway. Weakness is normal. Strength is intentional. The difference? Choice. Every day. So the next time your alarm goes off, you have two options. Prove the old pattern right, or break it. And that decision, it compounds. Weakness compounds. Strength compounds. Choose wisely. If this story hit you, if you saw yourself in Marcus, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And please subscribe to my channel for more life lessons that push you to become stronger, sharper, and unstoppable. You're not lazy. You're capable of more. Now prove it.